Okay, good. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the intro, Jim. That killed the first 12 minutes of my presentation. I have my presentation on my phone, so I'm not checking text. I just want to make sure we're in the same boat. Pat McFeely is a good friend of mine from Camrose. Pat and I coached provincial teams together a long time ago, and when we came to U of A this weekend, I asked Pat to come sit on our bench with us under the promise that he'd help me at this clinic and evaluate the way our bench works together. So how our assistant coaches talk to the head coaches and how we give information to the athletes and do that stuff. So as a coach, no matter what level I get to, we're always still trying to do some professional development. And so Pat's here to help that. And if you haven't met Pat, he's a relatively good guy. Okay, so my presentation is on choosing systems or systems of play. Just a show of hands, how many U13, U14 coaches do we have here? Half? 16 coaches? 17, 18? Okay, good. Oh yeah, your daughters are 17 now? 16? Yeah. You're just waving? Okay, so the first thing I want to, before we talk about choosing systems, I think a lot of times we do a little bit of a disservice to our athletes because we assume too much that they know volleyball like we know volleyball. A lot of us have played, watched volleyball, been part of volleyball, so when we come down, we forget about the little nuances. So the very, very first practice that I like to run, whether it's U13, U12, U23, we like to start with just refreshing the cycle of actions so that when we talk about skills, they understand what's going on. So if I could get somebody here with a ball and then somebody over here with a ball, please. Okay, and a hitter there, a hitter here, and then a bunch of other people grab balls, and then go to one of the other lines. So the very first thing I like to do is just a little self-toss set. So the setter just self-tosses. Can you go to the antenna and set this way? And then you can come to the back of this line. Okay, so you just self-toss, set to yourself. You'll just approach and hit it. Okay, then you go be the hitter, then you move in to be the setter, so on and so forth. Okay, so it goes like this. Go ahead. Okay, now rotate, you go be setter. Okay, and away we go. Yeah. Okay, then we rotate. The hitter becomes setter. All right, so then we'll do this for a little bit. U11 and U12, it's really more of a slap, but since volleyball attacking is all mostly timed off of the set, when do I approach? When the ball is in the setter's hands, after the ball leaves the setter's hands, as the ball's coming down to the setter's hands. Once they learn timing, then they get an idea. Then we can talk about footwork, we can talk about stuff like that. So once they do this for a little bit, then we would stop and say, okay, one setter is going to set everybody twice, and then we'll rotate who the setter is. So you'll stay. So you just bounce the ball to her and to start with, and away we go. Okay, and then away we go. Good, and then you just grab a new ball and, okay, and then away we go. Watch ball, watch ball, watch ball. Okay, so we would do this, then they would switch, and then we would do this one. So now, person with the ball will start on the other side. Setter is still there, passer, and then an attacker. Can you help, Jen? Okay, so you're an attacker. So we need an attacker here. Okay, so the person on the other side sets the ball in as a serve. Passer goes, you're U12 right now, so you're going to just catch it, self-toss it, set it to hit it. Hitter doesn't go until the ball is set out of the hitter's hands. Okay, go ahead. So set it, pass it, okay, boom, now catch it, set it, hit it, and then go again. Don't switch, go again, okay, and then we pass it, catch it, okay, set it, hit it. Okay, so we would do that. Then they get it. So now they're understanding the pass needs to go to the setter. Setter sits a hitter. When you do it this way, you don't have to tell them to set the ball along the net because that's all they know. They only know to set the ball along the net. You don't have to say, don't set where the hitter is. Too often we'll teach skills first and a little bit out of context, and then we go watch a U13 game and it's bump, 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 over, bump, 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 over, and the coaches are like, good job, 3 hits, somebody try to hit. And because the athletes don't realize the goal of the game is to hit. So then, if we have, can you go to that side? Can you go to that side? All right, so you need 1 ball. Okay, still U12. So you're going to set the ball over, catch it, hit it. You two are going to defend. Okay, you're going to catch the first ball. You're going to try to catch it. If you catch it, you run to the net to set your partner. Okay, go ahead. And then catch it. Then if you caught it, you run to the net. And then back off, play defense. Play defense, both you. Set your hitter. Yeah. If you catch it, then set the hitter. Okay. Okay, try to catch it. And then eventually we'll evolve to dig and catch the second contact. Run to the net, run to the net. You run and set her. Okay? So then we'll play and we'll go from there. Okay, by the end of our first session with U12-13, we're playing a modified 2-on-2 half-court game, and then they wave through, or it can be 3-on-3, 4-on-4, so on and so forth. Does that make sense? Then you can stop and talk about, okay, technique on passing. What's our goal? Our goal is to get the ball to the setter high enough that they can set. How do we do that? Well, we need to make sure the ball goes in that direction. Well, how do you do that? Like we have a long platform, we adjust, and we go from there. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, good. Thanks for the first demo. All right, so then, when choosing systems, you need to think a little bit about your level and what's your goal. Like at U12-13, your goal is to develop athletes before wins. Of course, wins are more fun, but with triple ball and things like that, what do you want to do? So the very basic level, I think we all know, is a 6-6, where who's ever in 2 sets, or if you want to train the setter more, you can have who's ever in 3, so that way they can back set a little bit, or try to. So you have that. So if we could have just 6 girls here. Okay, paddle, just bowl it in. And away we go. Serve comes in. Okay, play it out. Good, go. Back row. Okay, good. Rotate again. Pretend now it's your serve. Okay, so if we look, now we have a new setter in 2. So she's now the setter. And she's going to set front row, and we go from there. So now you to decide what do you want to do with your systems. You can have people just play where they are, or you can switch and say your setters play out a left side, or they can play out a middle, depending on what you want them to hit. So on our serve, you two will switch. So we'll say our setters are the middles as well when you're not hitting, when you're not setting. Okay, here we go. You can serve for real. I was just making fun of the older coaches. Okay, go. All right, they won because she stepped on the line, so it's your serve over there. So then we go to serve receive. Okay, you can back up and pass. You can fill up. You can slide over. Okay. Yeah, switch back. Yeah, thank you. Okay, go ahead. Oh, nice, Jen. All right, good win. Rotate. Switch back, rotate. So our setter is in 1 now. So she's going to set from the back row. Okay, so we kind of get an idea how that works. All right, you two will switch just for fun. Okay, ready? Go ahead, serve. Okay, go ahead, serve again. It's okay, Jenna's a setter too. That's good. Okay, so now can we rotate again? All right, our men's club in Brandon has mandated the 6-2 up to 6-3 up to U16, but they set out of the back row only, so they always have 3 attackers. So they will set out at position 1 and position 6, and then the next time the person rotates to 1, then they'll do that too. Can you go to the net with her? Okay, and then fill in. You're going to be in front of her because this is serve receive. Okay, fill in and go ahead and serve over there. Passing. Okay, and then you two switch, you're middle, right? Okay. Okay, go again. Okay, awesome. Thank you. That's good. Good start. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? The 6-3. So one of the downfalls that our U14 coaches always whine about is, whine's a bad word, complain about, that's probably a little less, is we don't have 6 setters because we do fair play where we got to switch after the first set at U14. And we don't have 6 setters on our team, so when we switch a whole line, we keep 12 on each team because we want as many athletes playing as we can. And then I say, well, that's because you haven't coached them yet. So we still say, you got to try it, and make people set and get them to learn. And, you know, it helps develop people who can set. Our, Russ Paddock, our athletic director, and Grant Wilson, who's the men's coach, they took their young boys all the way from U13 up to U18, and they played a 6-3 till 17. And then at U18, they went to a 5-1 because one of the guys went to play hockey at one of the setters that they ended up committing to went to play for Regina Pats. The other one changed into a libero, so they only had 1 setter left. So that's how they did it. But when they were U16, they had 7 people that were setting all the time. And out of those 7 players, that they all ended up going to play either CCAA college or U Sport, not necessarily as a setter, but because they had good skills all around, and people liked that. Plus, when you get to U17, U18, you're out of system setting, where non-setter setting becomes so important. And then 2 years ago, we were hosting nationals at Brandon, and we had a really good team. And it was set up for us, and our starting setter tore her ACL, so she was done. Our backup setter broke her thumb the next game on a block, so she was done. We actually went and got the soccer goaltender because she had set in high school, and she came and broke her thumb first game. So we were playing U of S in January, and we're in a timeout, and it was like, has anybody set before? And we had this second-year player. If you come to the game tonight, she's number 9 on our team, and she just set all-time kills record for our school, all-time attack percentage, everything as a left side. And she's like, I want to play. Yeah, I set. And we're like, okay, you're starting right now. Let's go. And so, you know, a girl who's that aggressive as a left side, the very first ball, she gets a great pass to her. We moved our second libero to be the left side, so we had better passing. And the very first ball she gets, she decides to run a 31 middle. And like, set it under the net. Wasn't a good set. And then we call a timeout, and we're just like, what are you doing? She goes, I've always wanted to try that. So I was like, okay, we got a good shot here. Let's go. Let's try to run things a little loopier. And it turned out pretty good for us because the team was very forgiving of bad sets. They'd go to hit a 31, and the ball would set behind them, and they would just hit it with their back of the hand, and we'd play defense. They were just like, whatever it takes. She's not a setter. We're happy. We go on a 12-0 run. Like, we end up beating a lot of the top teams because Nicola was just putting the ball up where people could hit it, and it didn't get too fancy. We kept it simple. And then we got to nationals, and she decided she was a setter. And then we battled hard, but she was like trying to hide this set to set this one, and the ball was back under the net. So it was good. And when you watch her play, number 9 today, you'll see hits the ball so hard, and she's got so many shots, and she's a true student of the game. She loves volleyball, not just loves playing volleyball. A big difference because she watches videos all the time. She watches the other team. She knows everybody tendencies before we talk about it. She's constantly loving volleyball, not just chance to play. Okay, make sense so far? So once we go from our systems, now you want to switch in so you can be part of the big group? Somebody want to go over there? We'll stay 6-3 just because it's easy. The second thing about a 6-3 that I wanted to mention, if you're doing it out of 1 and 2 or 1 and 6, there's no long runs from 5 or 4 for the setter until later on. So the 6-3 eliminates that long run. The next thing you need to do is to decide what do you want to do for serve reception. Once you've chosen your offensive system, then it's what you want to do for serve receive. It was last year I had the lucky opportunity to go on a professional development and take a year's leave sabbatical and travel around the world and watch volleyball. And in Europe, U14, they're still playing on badminton courts 4-on-4 because the size of the court they feel is too big for the movement. So quite often we watch our high school teams or our university or teams or our college teams passing with 3 passers. And so we want to mimic that because that's the latest trend. But you have to ask yourself, are you really in a situation where your athletes are able to cover that much court? So for us, if you set here and you're passing and you're be a middle, just for fun, or just go stand over here. So we're in rotation 2. So we call our rotations by where the setter is. So if she's the setter, we're in rotation 2. We're passing 3 passers. So what we do in our volleyball is we have, depending on where the serve comes from, we start in the middle of the court, and then she will be middle left, and then she'll be middle right. That's kind of how we do it. And their whole job is behind the attack line. So our middle and our left side's job is anything short. So your job would be in this short area. You're running over there to attack, so your job is shorter. So even though at university level we're playing 3 main passers, we're still a 5-player serve receive. Make sense? Okay, rotate 1. Okay, take your setter to the net. Back up and pass. Back up and pass. No, you got to stay at the net. You pass, pass, pass. We're going to go 4. Okay? So come to the middle of the court. Slide over to the corner. Slide over to the corner. So at times, U of A runs this. They call it the amoeba. I call it something different, a trapezoid. When we talk about it, it's because it's trapezoid shape. So they decide how they want to do it. They believe, when talking to Lori, that a lot of balls, when she stats it, falls out of the middle here. So she wants to have a player standing in the middle. Those two are deep, and you're short. So anything deep over and away we go. Is that right, Jen? Did I explain that pretty close? Okay, you want to serve a ball? We'll play it out. Jenna, you still feel like playing? We can get a second volunteer. Anybody else want to play? Anybody? 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 Apparently. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay? So away we go. Okay, serve again. It's good. One more serve. Okay, then rotate. And then rotate one. Take her to the net. Okay, come back and pass, but you got to start in the middle a little bit. Okay, so we still have it. You can go further. You can go further. Okay, and then away we go. Nice. Serve again, please. Good hustle. Okay, one of the things that even when we get a lot of first, and actually found out one of my third years, so I'm actually not doing a good job of it either, they don't understand serve-receive rotation rules. So they don't get that we can move people around and do different things. So if we just come back here, we'll just discuss the rules. Can you go back to where you were? Come back to here. So just so we're all clear on the rules, you have to be beside the people who you're beside. So you must be in between these two people. And then you must be in front of the person directly related to you. Those are the 2 rules they need to know. So can you come over here? So can you back up to pass? So in one of our rotations, back up again, we want to run our middle more in front. So we actually, can you come stand here? All right, so you're our middle hitter for right now. So you need to be on this side of her just a little bit. You need to be in between those 2 people, right? So it's a non-traditional setter in 6. You're going to run a little further because you got to run to the right side, and then you stay here to hit something quick. Does that make sense? So when we did that, when we moved our middles there, we had an argument. They're like, I can't do that. I can't go past her. I can't go past her. I've never been allowed to go past her. And I'm like, you have nothing to do with the setter. The setter has nothing in your range. So then we had to bring out the rule book, show them the rules, because they were convinced. Can you go back over there? Can you go to the middle? They were convinced in this rotation they needed to start over in the corner because that's all they've ever done. And they run around. So when you're trying to teach rotations, so come back here, we'll play this one out. You hit in the middle, you hit right side. We'll serve. You still got short, right? Middle? Okay. Here we go. Okay, serve again. Okay, good. So rotate one. All right, so you'll set out a one now. Okay, so just so we understand that whole concept. So what we do is when we're training our offense, serve, receive to attack, once they understand their switching and how they're going to move, then we will move them from like setter in 1 to setter in 5, kind of thing like that. So even though we're in a 6-3, we will name our rotation. So let's go pretend we're a 5-1 now. You're our setter. Okay? So setter in 1. So what's going to happen? Pat's going to throw a ball in now too. So take her to the net. Take her to the net. Take her to the net. Yeah, you can back up and pass. You can back up and pass. Okay, so we got the amoeba going here. Serve. Oh. Okay, so we'll start with a serve from back there, and then free ball to this side. Okay, so then we play it out. Okay, then a free ball over here, Pat. Okay, good. So now you would rotate to setter in position 4. Okay, 4, yeah. No, but you're our only setter. So keep rotating until the setter's in position 4. Okay, so now they have to learn their rotations. They have to know where they are. Rotate one more back. You come back here. So then they have to know. We just say setter in 4, and they're like, what are you talking about? Well, who's beside the setter? Who's between the setter? Who does this? So then they can go from there. So you can come back and pass here like we would. Okay? Good, you got short, and we're just go 3 across. You can play up a little bit, but you got short. Okay, ready? Here we go. Good. Okay, so she's going to play middle. You're going to play left side. Yeah, you'll play middle. We'll just keep it that simple. Okay, serve again. Sure, I got that backwards, eh? Good swing. Free ball. Okay, good. So now we would go to the setter in 6. Setters in 6. So we'd rotate. Where were you? You're in 4, so we rotated 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. So rotate 4 spots. Go back to where you were. Go back to where you were. Go back to where you were. And now rotate 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So another setter's in the, we should have another person in the middle, front middle. Yeah. Okay, take her to the net. Okay, back up to pass, back up to pass. So what U of A does sometimes is they'll move their front row player here. You'll see that. They do it a lot with number 6 on their team. They'll have her pass out a 6 and hit a step. They will sometimes, can you go back out there? Move their left side number 15 into the middle to pass, and then she will swing and hit outside. So they do different things with their serve receive based on what their needs are, not based on what's traditional. So it's a really good thing. Okay? Can everybody take their pennies off? Go, you keep yours on, just so you're my setter. Okay? So we'll go to a 5-1 now. Start in 1. Can we have a left side? Who wants to hit left side in front of her? Okay, a middle. Anybody want to play middle? Okay, somebody want to play right side? Okay. Okay, somebody here. So we got our left sides, our middles, and our setter right side opposite each other. Okay, so let's have her back up to pass. Traditionally, your left side's pass. You back up. You come start right there on the attack line. We like to start our middles on the attack line, so they're only moving forward rather than moving off the net. You need to be aware of the ball, and you need to listen to your passers to make sure they're okay. Okay, come back and pass more. Let's go 4 across. Okay? All right, so let's play it out. And a free ball, Pat. Okay? Stay where you are, no switching. Okay, free ball. Free ball, free ball. Okay, awesome. Rotate to setter and 4. Oh, hang on. That's a good serve, but hang on. Okay, go back to where we started. Go back to where we started. Very first where we started. Go back to where we started. Okay, look in your relationship to the setter. Okay, so you need to be, wherever she goes, you need to be 1 behind her. Okay, and then you need to be in that rotation. Okay, now we'll bring everybody over here. So middle is by the setter, left side comes back here, come back to pass, we'll go 4 across. So you hit left side right away, and you hit middle right away. Got it? Okay, and the rest of us just stay in our positions for fun. Okay, go. Good, free ball. Okay. Obviously, we're in Edmonton, and you're Brandon because that ball was out. Not complaining about a line call at all. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. Go to setter and 6. Okay, got our rotations. You're 1B. You're here. We have a middle there and a middle here. Who's the other middle? So you got to be in, you're following her, so you're in 1. You're following her, so you're in 1. You're following her, so you're in 1. You're a middle. Are you middle? So, yeah, so middle. So we know that she's the middle that's always leading the setter, okay? And then we know that you're the middle that's away from the setter. So when the setter goes, we look and see where we are. I'm leading the setter, so she's here. I should be in 5. You're following the setter, so you should be in 1, and the rest of us can figure it out. Right side's easy. If I say 6, you're in 3. Does that make sense? Okay. Go ahead. Let's play it out. How we choose who plays where, and when you're choosing your systems, as you get higher up, like basically when you're running a 6-3, we're always having 3 hitters or 2 hitters. Away you go. Okay, go ahead. Play while I'm talking. And then, so what tends to happen is the setter that starts in the front row when the setter is in 1 tends to hit more balls in front of the setter. So you choose usually the middle who hits the ball the best in front. The setter who's beside, leads the middle who leads the setter tends to hit more balls behind. So which of your players, go again, which of your players can hit behind, whether it be a 61 or a slide or anything like that, is usually how you decide who plays where. But one of the greatest things is being able to switch them around. So just flipping the middles in the match in between sets. Okay, setter in 3 now. Setter in 3. So setter goes to position 3. So just go straight up, setter to position 3. And then if you're leading the setter, you should be in 2. And if you're following the setter, you should be in 4. Awesome. So now they're kind of figuring it out. We're going to keep you in the middle. Yeah, you're going to be there. You can back up to pass 4. Okay, you can't be on that side of the setter, right? So now you have to decide in a 5-1, which is more important, your setter closer to their setting position or your middle closer to where you want them to hit. So for us, again, we drag for our university. Can you two go that way a little bit? We drag our setter so our middle is in position like in the 5 zone, so she can hit everything from there. When I coached high school, come back this way. We wanted our setter closer to this position, so she only reacted off. So it really depends on your level of play. Okay, go ahead. When you're choosing who plays where, like we talk about left side 1, left side 2, and a lot of times people will put their best attacker in left side 1 because she's in the front row with the setter on a 5-1 and should get more volume. A lot of teams in youth sport are now putting their top attacker in left side 2 because then they have a back row option when they have a setter in the front row. So they have a legit pipe hitter coming out of P2 or left side 2. So it really depends on the level of play and what you're trying to do. Okay, good. Okay, can we do split hitters? Can you just hit a right side ball off serve receive? And then you two will switch? Okay, so just hit a high ball right side. Okay, same thing in this rotation. So instead of the middle switching in front, a lot of teams will do split hits where they'll have a high ball right side and a high ball left side. It puts pressure on a middle at a younger age to decide which way they need to go, and they have to read a little bit better, and they go from there. So how you decide who plays where in your system really is involved in okay, good. Go ahead, Pat. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Can we give the pandas a round of applause? Thank you very much for crowd participation. I appreciate it. I have 5 minutes. I got the 5-minute sign. So, questions? Anybody have any questions about systems, choosing systems, why we lost last night? Anything? Anything? Coaching fault, of course.
There's one here, Lee.
We got one? Okay.
I don't know if I'm losing my voice.
I'll just say it out loud again.
Okay, so I was just wondering for 14U, would you recommend the 3-6 just for player development then?
I would, for 14U, definitely recommend the 6-3. So the 6 hitter, everybody has a chance to hit. Most people are setting. I would do that. We mandated in our club in Brandon. We have 5 U14 teams, and all of them are playing a 6-3. Unless I don't see one, and then when I do see them, then we make them change. But for the most part, we try to make them run a 6-3. Anybody else have questions? Yes. The player needs to be, can I have 3 athletes, please? Can I have 3 athletes? 1 in 1, 1 in 2, and 1 in 3. Can you come back here? So the player needs to be in front of the player they're directly in relationship to, and then beside the player they're directly beside. Those are the 2 serve-receive rules that you need. So that's why we can bring everybody all the way over here. So just come all the way over there. Stay where you are. She can come all the way past her because she's still in front of her, okay, and still behind. You need to be aware of when, can you go to 3 and can you be in 6? So when you're backing a player up to pass, can you back up here to pass when she's in 3? No, can you stay? I don't know names. Can you pass? Now, she needs to be on that side of her still and needs to be in front of her. So what tends to happen is this player gets really anxious and starts creeping, and they're ready to pass right here. Now they're out of rotation. okay? And we have to be aware of that. Officials usually do a great job of telling you first, hey, you're overlapped, your player in 6 needs to be behind. They usually give you 2 or 3 warnings, and then they call it on you. That's what I've found, but maybe they just do that for me when I coach club. But that's something we need to be aware of, is there is that overlap that people forget about and they just get going. And then at our level, our setters cheat. Like on the toss, it's contact. You're not allowed to be in front of the player until contact. And a lot of times on the toss, setters are going on a jump float and they're getting 2 or 3 steps. And I'm okay with that. But just to be aware that they can't actually be past the player they're behind until contact of the serve. That's the other rule. Any questions? Keith? Ron? You guys? Why did we lose last night? No, he was great, actually. He helped a lot, kept me calm. 22-19, we're up in the 4th, and we have some young setters, and they're working really hard. We run a 6-2, modified 6-2 for the most part. I'm going to tell you a secret. Don't tell Lori. We went away from it in the 3rd set, and we matched our setter up with Corey White, who's their best attacker, but she was over in 4, and Corey was in position 2, and they set over our setter the whole 3rd set, and they basically took the ball out of their best attacker's hand, and we were able to defend the 2 left sides. So in the 4th set, we went back to it, and Lori, being a multi-time coach of the year, told her setter, Corey's over top of their left sides, and let's just set her more often. And their soon-to-be all-Canadian player just went off for 7 kills in that last set, and we were up 22-19, and she got their last 5 kills, whether it was front court or back court. I actually think she hits the back row ball better than she hits the front row ball because she gets a little bit more of an approach. But in the end, Ron, that's what happened. Yeah. If Corey would been on our team and we had her and Nicola, I think it would be a different story. Okay? Not that my team's not bad. We're good. We play hard, but their best player was really good last night. Any other questions? I'm done. Okay, hopefully this is good enough. Kind of rambly, but thank you. All right, thank you.